can actually remember the day. It was sitting in the maths class, and the door got kicked open, and someone just literally said, "Bruv, you guys, have you seen this book?" Someone just held up Subway Art. And so there was Giants, there was SE Vandals. I know a couple of these guys used to live around the block from us. Seeing the Artful Dodger piece, which was around the corner from my house. Like mind blowing. Some guy was there painting like a wasp, and I'm thinking, who paints wasps? Painting in their school. And the dinner lady come over to me and whispered, "I used to do that." And I'm like, sorry, love? Because we was on this side of the bus, they're on that side of the bus. And it was like, "Did you just do that tag? Bruv, is that yours?" And he just went, "Yeah." And I was just like, no way. Pens held together, and you've got that kind of drop shadow 3D style. Proper accidents, like literally, man getting their arm cut off, man literally getting hit by trains and all this kind of stuff. Streets is waiting for them. You know what I'm saying? To bring them down. To bring them down. Yeah. As they say, the devil and the idle hands and all that kind of thing. And you thinking to have a kid that might feel the peer pressure of wanting to be on the road doing road things, and then to just be like, for someone to go, "Do you know what? I've seen you draw, or I've seen you do poetry or creative writing. I've seen you. Why don't you try this?" And it's that trying to pull like the magnet away from the darkness and go, there's some stuff that will just feel, it would feed you. Lights, camera, action. Welcome to the Graffiti Tales from the City, where we delve deep into the vaults and undercover gems of history. And on this week's show, we have graffiti writer and artist from the mid-80s, who was in the Kamikaze Bombers crew out of Southeast London, who is now giving back to the community and running art classes for the younger generation. We have the one and the only Julian ArtJaz in the place. Yes, man. Okay. Nice one, man. Woo! Nice. Woo! How you doing, mate? You good? Getting good, man. Life is treating me good, so no complaints, bro. None. Listen, I'm excited to talk to you because basically we're going to be, uncovering like the South London, bus scene and the artists and all that kind of, those incredible kind of early to mid 80s history when it comes to graph and tagging and all that good stuff. So we're going to take it back to the root, back to where it all started. So Julian, listen, you know how this thing rolls. Right. Whereabouts are you from, and what was it like growing up, as a young nipper? To be honest, pretty much them formative years was like Tulse Hill, Brixton. So it's almost like, going Tulse Hill school, which was a little bit of a challenge. And obviously what came with that was, anybody that had any drawing skills was led over to the dark side. Just, man, just jump out this lesson. Come, let's go and hit some bus windows. Yeah. Going back to that. Where was you growing up in the kind of like in the 70s era? So literally, you're talking about mid 70s. You know what I mean? Mid 70s, early 80s. So it's almost like when I was pretty much, Tulsa was, as I said, it was all right still. It weren't too off key and that, and people was decent. And was you seeing any kind of like little bits of graph? I mean, that wasn't connected to hip hop. Was you seeing kind of like, like the punk kind of graffiti or and the football, like the football? Because where I was from, like our manor, you used to see like MFC, Millwall Football Club. Yeah, and no, we'd see paintbrush. Yeah, it's just typical little scratty. What's Kilroy was there, nose over the wall, Chelsea Football Club. Standard. And there was also quite a bit of hippie graffiti around as well. I remember seeing them nice houses with the two pillars either side in round like areas like Nunhead and all that. And some of them had that like snakes going around the columns. Yeah. You would have never known where that comes. Literally, for me, it's almost like those kind of things, because I pretty much just knew Tulse Hill. It's like any other areas outside it was just like wilderness. It was like Narnia to me. Because it was like, when you're old enough to go, do you know what? I don't know down that road. Let me just go and take a little walk down there. You know what I mean? Little drink and just walk and talk. So, that's what them summer evenings was for. You know what I mean?
And also, really, one of the big game changers, which we will get into a little bit later, is the buses. Because if it wasn't for the buses, we wouldn't have been traveling around into other areas, checking out, you know, all the other kind of graph and all the other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It was literally as soon as man discovered the red bus rover.
Exactly. Yeah, the 60p and travel wherever you want in London. Yeah.
We was because we used to do that whole every Saturday. We used to jump on the bus from Tulsa, going down like from Norwood, heading down to Covent, and then sit on that 68 bus from Covent all the way back to Croydon, and just it's like everywhere in between. You would just see same thing, sitting on the bus, normal people, and certain youths with the hand in the pocket, like triggered, like, and you know they was coming out with the torch pen. So
yeah, well, we're gonna cover a lot of that later on, but yeah. Julian, yeah, going back to your start. So yeah, you're from around like the Tulsa area.
Yeah.
Was you doing much art in school?
To be honest, that's all I did do.
You was bang into the art. Before
I even knew about it, you think I've been drawing since before I can remember. So I've always had a pencil in my hand. So to me, whatever it was, graph didn't come along for me until I was like, 12, 13, 14, as far as, painting letters and stuff. So art has always been my thing.
You could say like art in terms of like hip hop art, as in terms of, graffiti art. So let's nail this down. Like basically, how did you kind of get started within that kind of hip hop side of graffiti art? Was it things like subway art?
Oh my gosh! Do you know what? That's an understatement. Literally, I can actually remember the day. It was sitting in the maths class, and the door got kicked open, and someone just literally said, "Bruv, you guys, have you seen this book?" Someone just held up subway art, and literally, the people that weren't into art were just like, "What's this boy doing?" And we was just like, "What is that? What is that?" And from that day,
it changed.
Everything. I can even remember the first thing I traced. It was so full on from that moment. So to be honest, I can't remember what came first. Before subway art was the Malcolm McLaren, like the Duck Rock stuff, which was Buffalo Girls. So I think we were seeing, obviously, the ghetto blaster with the horns and all that. We were seeing that stuff, but that was more the tagging. And it was subway art brought in the blockbusters, you know what I'm saying? It was like the letters and stuff.
I mean, out of anything, it was subway art which was changing the game. I mean, that come out in I think it was 84, wasn't it? So it
was 84, 85 for us. Do you know what I mean?
That changed the game up totally. And who was you kind of tracing? Who was you rating? Like Don D scene? I mean,
no, you know what? Everything was the scheme piece, the psycho piece. Do you know what I mean? The Happy Holidays, the PJ, and you know what I'm saying? All them scene ones there. And it's so funny looking at my sketchbooks and my black books from then, and now I'm thinking, I know that came from that scene piece with the red and the orange and the blue. That one came from it was, you know what I mean? The Shy sketch, the Kel sketch with the Teach Wizard, all of that was just transmogrified from here into the sketches, you know what I mean?
It was like the Bible. It was like the Bible of graph art, wasn't it? I mean,
you know what I mean?
Do you remember when it first come out? And I bought it from the library, and I was cutting out all the pictures, and I took it back to the library with nothing left in it. And they're like,
"You're a horrible man."
getting banned and like fined and stuff like that. But
when they said everywhere it's sold, you used to just get wrapped.
Yeah. That subway art must be the most racked book in history. It must be, because it touched us all.
It's like, and the fact that it went global was just like, when you're thinking about everybody, that's the nuts thing. It's just everyone, when they interview writers from overseas, from Asia, from South America, everybody at some point got that book for the first time and just, what's this?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So it's a weird thing to have the way certain people talk about books and how it affected their lives. Subway art was like, you know what I mean? It's mad to even pick up the pictures now and just go, I still remember the vibe. I still remember seeing this stuff for the first time. It's just like, it doesn't go away, man, for real. The whole Style Wars. Man, my graffiti partner Fizz, right? He had that. I think he taped it off Channel 4,
That's right.
and had that thing on Betamax.
That's right.
And when I say we watched that thing religiously, like every Sunday we'd like link up just for like a drawing sesh, and it was like boom, ran man's house, hi to the mum, do you and the guys want a sandwich? And then it was like Star Wars is on, and we would just sit there, soak it up word for word, just like doing all the lines, and then you're so pumped, and then the music's on, Suck It MCs is on, and then we're just scribbling.
Because we got it a little bit later in UK. I'm sure Star Wars come out around 1985. It was actually, they did start filming. I think it was around 83, obviously 84. But yeah I mean, Star Wars was an absolute game changer. So in terms of UK, I mean, or London, I mean, who was inspiring you in the early days of London writing? Would it have been like crews like the Trailblazers or the Supreme Team?
Of course. Do you know what? Those trips to Covent, seeing Chrome Angels, seeing like Pride and Bando and Mode and them guys there up close, like you just because we was kind of like, we felt like youngsters, so to just watch them guys was just like you put man on a pedestal, but you just can't help it. You just try not, dude, if I could just get that guy to just tag in my book, you know what I'm saying? And it was like seeing them guys and seeing like Tough Arts, because we was from like East Dulwich and that. When we moved from Tulse Hill, it was like the thing about seeing these guys paint up close. So there was Giants, there was SE Vandals. I know a couple of these guys used to live around the block from us. Seeing the Artful Dodger piece, which was around the corner from my house, like mind blowing.
Like,
it was when I first moved to the manor, and my mate was like, "Yeah, you got to come and see this stuff, like to actually see it." And I was just like, oh, dick, you know what I mean? And then the other one was Artful Dodger for me, because I love the calligraphy. So it was when everyone was talking about the Weetabix graph, and they had the giant billboard with the Weetabix graffiti on it. And we was just like, oh, check this dude out. And I just like was tracing Old English Gothic, because you see that tag Artful, because same like we used to go elephant, hit the subways hard. It was just like, you just seeing this italic.
Calligraphy, yeah. Amazing.
I wanted to be like that guy. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'll be totally honest. Listen, like the Supreme Team were absolutely an incredible crew. And they come around in 1985, and you obviously had Crash, Jap 302, aka Juicy 101, Artful Dodger, Plaz, and Form. Yeah. Now, when the Supreme Team, let's go back to when they done that graffiti piece in Dulwich in 1985. That was a mind-blowing piece. Now, it had that kind of Weetabix style to it, but I think it was Jack 302, Juicy. I'm pretty sure he done the character of the tube driver. Do you remember holding the lunch bag? Now, for 1985, that piece was literally way ahead of the game, wasn't it? It was so inspirational.
It was just those. You know what? It's those guys there. These people like Jap and Juski. It was like when you're seeing this stuff come together. Looking back at it now, you're just going, I can't really, like, do you know what I mean? I was seeing the guys up on ladders. I didn't know who they were. We were just looking at the art. We wasn't even looking at the artist. And it was like a rainy day. It was snow. It was freezing. And them guys up on there putting spray paint. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, when I see the photos now, and it's like, raw, that was actually a big deal.
I mean, London Giants as a crew, I mean, basically SEV, South East Vandals, teamed up with Creative Arts to form London Giants. And in London Giants, you had Shane 181, Jap 302, Juicy 101, Form, Fresh Mess, Zone 1, Cast was in it. Now, let's talk about For Many Girls Controlling the City piece. Let's talk about that piece in early 86. How inspirational was Controlling the City?
It was like, the fact that it was like 3 separate pieces, just all different styles. And it was that same thing about the popping pinks and the reds and the blue. It was like, and he had the space vibe to it. Just like, because that, we're just used to seeing one piece, one set of letters. But the fact that you've got like Let It Rock, Many Girls Controlling the City, all in one. And we was just going, this, like, yet again, you didn't understand the science of it as it was going up. It was just like, bro, you know what I mean? You're looking back, and it was just like, for me, because I was seriously into characters from day one. So just seeing the you know, the can control, and before we even knew about that, it was just how, because relatively it's still not a big character, but just
the detail in it for that time was incredible. And for anybody that hasn't seen the For Many Girls Controlling the City, we've got to try and picture it, because there's this big piece on the side of a house.
Yeah.
One character either side. One of a guy dressed up with this kind of sort of fur hat on with like a little name belt with laser guns on the side.
Yeah.
And on the right hand side of it, you've got this girl with a space visor on. Yeah. Dressed in all these kind of like sort of how could you call it, like space age kind of style.
Do you know what? Anybody that could pull off that style, that space girl style, because because loads of people were doing it. Because obviously I remember like Goldie's version and all that, and yeah, it's like you had to, you know, all them 2000 AD kind of, you know, Halo Jones influences was just like, oh, anybody that could paint girls to look cool. For me, I was just like, though, that's what started me on you got to paint girly characters, because everybody was painting dudes with guns and giant cannons and robots, and I just want to be able to paint girls. You know what I'm saying? So,
and for them to put up for many girls controlling the city. I mean, yeah. How genius is that?
That's what I'm saying. It didn't even drop at the time how deep that was. Do you know what I'm saying? I just thought I wanted to be able to paint girls that girls would like my work. That was it for me. That was it for me. So it was like anybody that could do that were kind of like, yes, I want to be as good as those guys one day. Don't care how long it takes, but yeah, that was my influence.
And London Giants were an absolute amazing crew. I mean, for me, Jap 302 is probably my most, him and Mode 2 are probably my two most favourite artists.
Yeah, I mean, Mode 2 is actually by far, do you know what I mean, had the most influence on my work. Just because it was, do you know what it was? I always saw female characters that didn't look like a Cindy doll. When I see a man drawing a dancing character with large hips and proper, like, do you know what? That's what a female character is supposed to look like. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like following the superhero stuff. It was like, no, this is B-girl. And for me, that was just between the combination of that, and obviously whenever I started to get into the Baudet stuff, it was seeing these just voluptuous female characters that just looked super cool. That was like, yeah, that's it. That's where I want to go. Do you know what I mean? I'm just like, those guys set the bar high, man. And even to this day, their Mode characters have still got me gassed. So yeah, I can't say enough about it. You know what I mean? It's nuts.
I mean, they're timeless characters, and you look at them now and they're still mind blowing to see now.
Gosh, this what I'm saying. The style, and that's the thing. It was the being able to have a style of your own. Like, every people were copying Bods and all that, but to actually have your own style and be so confident to just be like, this is me. I don't care what no one else is doing. I'm setting this one here, and people were watching. See what I'm saying? People like me were just like, oh my, check him out! Oh my gosh! And to see like a new Chrome Angels with the Mode character on there. Yeah. It makes the hairs on your arms stand up. You're like, still, like wow. Still. Do you know what I'm saying? Still. So.
And and Julian, what other crews were you rating? I mean, obviously, Tough Arts must have been a big inspiration with Drone 2, Scarf, Plaz, Seas and Cash.
Because it was like, remember from the Battersea Park big graph jam, and it was, I remember standing there, me and my crew, and we was, watching Drone and them guys do, that was another female character, watching them do their piece and just seeing how long Drone spent on this one character with the helmet, the visor, and I'm going to my man. Do you see how many layers of colours man put into that character right there? Whew. Yeah, there was some literally that day. The Battersea Park Jam there was a hell of a lot of ones down there, And I remember seeing, I wouldn't even know certain bods' names, but it was just some guy was there painting like a wasp, and I'm thinking, who paints wasps?
I remember that. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I remember that wasp thing.
Watching that dude, like, he's going in. You know what I'm saying? And that's when you start to think, like, it wasn't just letters and characters, because when you're talking about how big people are doing in street art now with all nature and stuff like that, and that guy was smashing that stuff in '86.
Back then, he was wasping it up. He was wasping it up. Yeah, it was like pure original stuff. I've never seen a wasp getting done.
And there was a crowd of man around him, just like, man was just in his zone. You know what I mean? And I think that's where everybody using the same spray cans. You recognise you got the car plan crew, and then you got the guys with the bodnacks and that. But you're just going, do you know what? We all use the same paint. And you're just taking, like, you're watching someone do stuff with the can. You're going, what's he doing? He's turning the can on its side. He's turning the thing upside down. And it was, yeah. If everyone had phones back then, right? And record.
Could you imagine?
Ooh, it would have been just nuts. You know what I'm saying? So to be able to soak up what you're seeing, because these are like proper G's. You know, you're just going, someone is painting. This is like some Bob Ross stuff. People are actually painting. They're not just boom, 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 tagging. This is painting. This is like, I'm taking my time with this. This is getting appreciated. So I feel like that's where I wanted to be, in a point where, for me, whatever I do in my art, in my career, because when I was that age, I didn't know I was going to still have been doing art all these years. It was just like, I just want to be able to paint with spray cans on that level. Yes, it took years, but it's like, I can, you know what I mean? For me, that's the people that inspired me was pretty much those guys there.
So was Drome to a big inspiration as well?
Literally, for just on the site for that day alone, watching him paint was like a privilege. You know what I'm saying? So it's funny, yeah, because there's loads of people who you knew of, because from spray can art came out, and there was a lot of the London writers in there. You know, you appreciate it from afar, but there is nothing like seeing one of your heroes painting in front of you, and you're just so shook, like, I can't move from this spot. Dude, come, let's go and see this, bro. I can't move from this spot.
It's like you're hypnotized, you're zoned in, you're just I've got
to watch this.
Yeah,
I've got to let it just run its course, because this is too dope.
Yeah, you know? I was there, and I was seeing the Chrome Angels just spraying up. You had Non-Stop were doing a thing there, which was wicked. You had Chris as well, Jump 2. Chris was doing a little character and a little some lettering.
Yeah,
I mean, some amazing artists back then.
And I just think that it's what's nuts is seeing, especially because you still got the US writers and that was still, like, obviously the people from Subway Art, to see these guys old and still like the video with Scheme and them guys still putting up stuff, and it's like nothing has changed. Them hand styles are still there. I would love to see more and just get out and see some of those guys, like the Giants and the Vandals. Is any of those guys that are still drawing, still arting up? It's to just, you know, like you're watching something and you feel yourself you're going back in time. You know what I'm saying? It was like, I want to see, like, even seeing people like Scarf and them guys around still doodling now, going, I watched you paint when I was just a toy. I was just like, dude, that's dope, man. I love to see people still doing it. Skills haven't left. Like riding a bike, once it's there, it's there.
And I love still seeing that kind of original format. You know, I love looking at that.
People that can just literally, they literally, just like me, to have a biro and the back of an envelope and to just throw up like an outline, and you just be like, bro, I know who you are, dude. That's for me. That's why I always, like, I'm sitting on the train, and I know sometimes I'll just sit there thinking, I'm bored. This train journey's an hour.
So you start doodling.
I just start doodling. You're seeing people like trying not to look, and then some people will just go, wow. Oh wow. And then it's always funny. Everybody see these suits and that, and you be like, oh, I used to break dance back in the day. And it's that immediate association with, because you're graphing, they'll start talking about spinning on heads and stuff like that. But you just think, we're all in that age range. We're all in the same, like, born in the 70s and stuff like that. everybody's like aging at the same rate. So of course them guys were spinning on their heads. Of course they were beatboxing. I bumped into some, seriously, I've been in a kid's playground doing a job, painting their school, and the dinner lady come over to me and whispered, I used to do that. And I'm like, sorry love? She said, I used to do that. And I'm thinking, what's she talking about? Then she goes, yeah, I used to paint stations. I used to run up on this. And I was going, wow. Then she started writing off names and I was like, raw.
Really?
Did
you know her tag name? Can you remember?
No, literally, I can't remember, but it was like, she said she used to be like Morden at all them sides. Literally, just that whole, it was weird because as soon as she started talking, you could see her eyes lighting up because it was almost like she don't bump into any other real writers, you know. And she said, oh, my grandchild knows that I used to graph, but my kids don't, because she's kind of ashamed, or she's kind of said, I don't really want people to know that. And I was like, I was just hooked on her words. Like, do you know what? Someone starts talking about graph, and they're like an older lady, and I'm thinking, that's deep. That's deep. And all it was I had a can in my hand and I was drawing, and I just think we're both connected on that thing. Like, this art form belongs to both of us. It doesn't matter who you are or what you look like. If you drew, painted, tagged at any point, you know the feeling. You know.
You get it. You get it. You get it.
And you don't judge each other. You know, everyone knows what it's like to be judged. The fact that she said, oh, my kids can't know. You know what I mean? And my kids are adults. And I'm like, that's you know, even having to hide your art form. Nah, man, I'm just like,
get it out there, man. Get it out there. Get back out there. You should have given her a can or a pen and said,
you know, she actually said, you know, I might come up and put my tag up on the back of the thing. I just said, you know what? If that's what you want, that's fine. I'll leave a can there and just pack my bag and just pretend that I didn't see it. You know, it was a lovely moment, really was.
Yeah, it's moments like that are special. Right, ArtJaz, let's talk about, like, I'm gonna love talking about this. Let's talk about hand styles, and back then the importance of the hand style. I mean, what's the importance of the hand style to you?
I mean, do you know what? Obviously, sitting on the back of the 68 or the 196, and you got people who will go for size, right? Size matters, right? They're
the bigger the better. Yeah.
So, you know, obviously, if you've got loads of little tags and you've got a board rubber with the ink dripping down, you know that everybody's going to see yours. They ain't even going to see the others. But it's like anything, like calligraphy, when you're looking at, because we used to have like the Edding 850s and that, like the little babies and stuff. That was like a standard medium size, easy to hide, but couldn't hide the smell. Was like, you're watching a tag and you're seeing, right, where did he start his letter? Is he left-handed? Like, you could tell just from literally the way that letter, you know. I remember just seeing guys, and same thing about not judging book by the covers. There were certain tags that I'd see people, I was like, this guy harsh. I remember thinking that was one of the dopest tags that I used to see on the 68. And I remember just one day, I met the guy, because we was on this side of the bus, they're on that side of the bus. And it was like, did you just do that tag? Bruv, is that yours? And he just said, yeah. And I was just like, no way. Bruv, literally, for me, you know, like anything, you do recognize that, like, if you see an artful tag, it don't matter if it's tiny. You're so gassed that how dope it is and how clean. And same thing, I wanted to be able to just have a tag that was just like the same thing. You start, get your pen at that right angle, and then you're just hitting that.
That chiseled look.
That chisel had to be at 45 degrees and just, you know, as I said, I rate the people that came in hard, where people were bringing cans onto the bus, because, you know, once you bring a can out, there wasn't really, people weren't trying to get no can control. It was just, I'm going big. But it's almost like I really wanted to have a really clean tag that if someone saw it, they would just go, I don't even know what that says, but it's clean. That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was my favorite tags were, you know, it was the Giants tags. It was seeing an SCV or seeing a Bus Boys or something like that.
Bus Boys, yeah.
And it was like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because and it's funny because once we moved to Dulwich, everything was 37. The 37 was the old Route Master. yeah, that used to get, because that was the whole Clapham going through to Peckham route. So it was, yeah, you get the crossovers, man.
And what kind of battering would those South East London buses get? Because I think obviously the main reason the South East London or South London buses got such a battering is because we didn't have the tube network, did we? So everybody was riding the buses.
I just think it was inevitable it was going to get caned. It was like every seat back, and obviously when you go inside and where the top of the bus curves round, people was going over the mirror.
Everything got a battering, didn't it? Everything.
Standard.
I mean, there was times that you get on the bus and it literally, the sun would not shine through the bus window because it was so battered you couldn't see out the windows, could you? It was like there's no window left. You can't see nothing.
And especially like when you go in the start of the week and you know people have been in there over the weekend, so you could still smell
hitting those bus garages or
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People could smell the juice in the air, man. It was like for me was, and that's the thing, because you're looking for the people you know, or you're looking like, where's, yes, my man's been here, boom boom boom, right, yeah, right, okay, right, he's gone upside down on that one. It was like,
and yeah, look, he's using the green, he's using a nice green or two-tone. Remember the two-tone colours as well, the black and red.
Man, the one when I saw like with the two pens held together, and you've got that kind of drop shadow 3D style. It was like,
that was funny. Wicked, wasn't it? That was wicked.
You seen, you know, like when people will go, "What are you looking at, mate?" And you I still do it now. Do you know what I mean? I'm sitting on the train, and when trains coming into London or going through Clapham Junction, I'm just doing that, because you're just going, "What does that say? I remember that guy. Rah, okay, I remember that dude when he was a kid. Rah, man's actually evolved." It's like it never leaves you. It never.
No.
You want to see because you know. You can see he's put that outline on. You can see man put the one line border on there. You can see man's got drips coming down there. He's purposely done that. Like the highlights, you can see them. Like highlights were done proper, or he's gone with some fat highlights. So yeah, the influence is everywhere. It just never. And I think once you've done it, it's just something like, you know, I mean, you could just sit and just watch all day, just take in, stars, and then it gets weird when like seeing. It's not around no more, and you have to go back to old photos, and you have to go back to like seeing things like old videos, like you know what I mean, the Beat This, where you've got. Remember when that bus route used to look like this? Remember when the 196s would have the giant cron tag going all down across 4 windows, and I'm thinking, my man's letters are so big, the bus window would have 1 letter per, and I just said, that's what I'm talking about, and all that stuff about doing your tag backwards, so that the people on the outside could see your letters. I said, that's genius.
Yeah, what a brilliant idea. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But Julian, like ArtJaz, like the thing is, it weren't just obviously buses that were getting battered to pieces. I mean, obviously the bus stops as well. The bus stops got a battering as well. The bus stop.
Yeah. People was hitting the glass, and obviously the people that had proper like dexterity was getting up, and when you seen the bit up the top, where it's actually got the bus numbers, I'm thinking, how did man get his tag there?
Yeah. How did he get up there to
because you know someone shimmied up the bus stop onto the corrugated bit and then leant across, because
it's a mad reach.
They say those who dare. I personally, I was more aware of my mortality, so I said, I'm not going there, bro. I'm not going. I rate them, man, but I ain't going there. I'm thinking about gravity, you know what I'm saying? But
I know them buses are so good. As you say, them red bus rovers, 60 pence, and you could travel wherever you wanted. They was kind of like a game changer.
If you could, and that's what I'm saying, to actually have youths getting up out of their beds on a Saturday and Sunday morning, specifically to give you more time to just go around London. Do you know what I mean? That was your, like, people talk about, I'm going to go all city. It's like, yeah, I'm just going to jump on buses, and I'm going to change here, and I'm going to jump on that bus line going there. And yeah, I you know, because we all wanted to be like the guys from Subway Art, we wanted to be like, we're going all city today. Little bus pass, ding ding. And I just think them bus drivers must have known. Because
because they used to look up, sitting there,
Yeah.
seated position, look up through the funnel, and do you
Yeah.
remember the mirror, the concave
Yes.
mirror that looked to the back of the bus? They knew what was going on, man. I mean, there was enough rays that everyone was jumping at the back of the bus window.
When the bus driver just go, "Oi!" and you can hear man getting out the cab.
And people like loads of people jumping at the back of the bus.
It's like, yeah, I'm jumping,
hanging off the top, innit?
It's ridiculous, man. But I just think, yeah, it's like it was there. The jokes were there. The scars were there, and you know, I just to be able to kind of laugh about it, knowing full well, like certain things I just didn't do because I just thought when you're hearing about people having like proper accidents, like literally man getting their arm cut off, man literally getting hit by trains and all this kind of stuff. For me, it was like, it's like, there was a line that I personally had to draw. Maybe it was fear of my mother finding out, or just like, I love Graph, and it's like, I can't do that mad stuff. That's why I looked up to them guys, because it's just like, you know, people are like, it's do or die and all this kind of thing, and I'm like, who said anything about dying? I'm just like, man, I gotta be me, man. I love art, has been my thing from day one, and I just thought I've got to do this thing, and I've got to, you know what I mean? I can't kind of get caught up doing anything that's gonna like the thought of losing my drawing hand. That's all I was thinking about. Like, what's the worst thing that can happen?
The thing is, ArtJaz. The thing is, you're a proper artist. So, I mean, looking back on it, I mean, back in London, there was a lot of industrial wasteland.
Oh,
and that's where, you know, a lot of the kind of the artists would relax a little bit more, and they'd spend a lot more time, you know, doing their pieces. And it was a lot more relaxed. It wasn't like doing a quick blam or quick hit on the track side or on the or whatever. It was taking your time, developing your art skill, and pushing forward into the next boundaries, and trying to keep pushing forwards to get you know, to up the game to the next level.
That was normally like them underground car parks in almost every estate. It was just like,
exactly.
You know, hardly anybody goes down there. And it's just like, normally weekends, no one ain't moving their cars, you know what I'm saying? So the fact that you can hold a little corner, and even because, you know, just perfect, like you're saying, just go over your pace, the same piece you did last week, just going to go over it again and add bits and make this better. And yeah, because obviously you want to know the day you're going to be painting in public, people are going to be like, right, okay, man's not just come here from day one, man's been practicing. So everybody needs a spot, you know what I'm saying? It was a memorable time. It was a fun time, man. So, and then from that, I just always had a piece book on me, like always, because it was like same thing. You're sitting on the bus, or you're sitting in the class at school, and you're just going, you got subway art letters in your head. I need to perfect this letter form, or I need to, you know, all of the school books had graph at the back, all of them. Sitting there in the lesson with your hand in the page like that. And it's like, Julian, are you paying attention? Yeah, sir. Yeah, no worries. And man, come on, he knew exactly what I was doing, man. I just thought, people don't think about school finishes really quickly. You spend like 5 years in secondary, and that's it. Then you do what you want. So it was just like, just bide your time. As soon as I knew I could go to art college, I'm like, boom, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Man, art is me. This is my life now. So
yeah, you was hooked. I was
hooked from day dot, and the fact that I was so desperate to go art college, because I couldn't even imagine staying at school. So when I realized I never had no serious art, everything I had was piece books. Everything I had was black books. So the fact that I actually got into my college course on my foundation with 2 meaty piece books, to this day they was like, well, we can see you love this stuff. Yeah, let's give you. I was so chuffed, man. I was like, what?
Where was you going? South East London College?
Literally, I went to Southwark College down Albany Road, just down Walworth Roadway. And it was like opposite Burgess Park there. I was so like, I'm surrounded by artists. And that what was nuts is there wasn't really I didn't know at that time, but there was a couple of graphers that I met at art college that that are still doing stuff now. And it's like, that was heavy, because it was just like, you could see in almost all of my art, there was the graph influence. anytime I'm doing my graphics course and I design a poster, I'm doing b-boy characters. I've got tag letters in there, and it was just like, and what was nice, funny enough, bumping into the Hard Noise guys and the Son of Noise guys at art college, they're looking over the same thing. They're looking at your work going, do you write?
So who was you catching up with? AJ and Madder?
It's AJ and DJ Sun.
So, sorry, DJ Sun. Yeah.
So literally, funny enough, Jason, he was the first dude I met at art college, because everyone else was keeping to themselves, blah blah blah. And he actually come over. I'm sitting in the canteen with my piece book open, and he come over and he said, "You say, man?" Yeah, Jason, you said. And I thought, he's like, "Do you write?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like looking through my book, and I'm thinking that was '87, and I was so like happy that someone else from a hip hop background actually just come over and introduce himself. Whereas I just thought no one in hip hop was friendly. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was just stone screw face, bro. What? So it was nice that, you know, the fact that even to this day that I'm still in contact with these guys, and it's just we're all artists, man. Art college was socially, it was a different vibe, because I come from Townsville School and everybody was rare, but to be at art college when everyone was just chill,
relaxed,
and it was more women than men, so it was just like this real, like, you got to grow up, man. You can't just be like this mad. You got to grow up and just be able to be an artist and articulate and stuff. So it was a you know, so age 16 to 19, that was the calming down and realizing, do you know what, I can actually do this thing for life. Seriously, I just need to just calm down. Remember that it's a long road, and you just got to go for it, man, because this is my love. It's my passion.
And that kind of brought you in, didn't it, to do like record sleeves and also
was how my career started.
And flyers as well.
Club flyers, because we literally, I was so you're talking about from 1990. I did my first batch of record covers with my crew, my guys Genocide 2 that I went to school with. I did all their covers, and then I went into, you know, Touch magazine in like 93. And that was like, I had my little rock stuff comic strip in there. I was doing, you know, just the odd fly here and there, Iceni, kind of little things there, Satellite Club. So all up to mid-90s, that was my career, was flyers, magazine stuff. And it was like, everything was black ink. That's why even the shape of my hand, where I used to have my little pen cradle there for hours and hours and hours of just drawing. And it's like, yeah, that was everything, man. Everyone just knew that whole 2000 AD influence and that graph influence and that Baudet influence. That was me. I was just like, I had my corner. Do you know what I mean? And yet again, when people say, bro, you was 90s, you was everywhere. And it was just because I just, you know, it's funny enough, getting in with things like Touch, where almost every journalist was a promoter. So you had people that were doing their salsa clubs, their house clubs, their garage clubs. And it was like, yeah, you need to check to my man, do your flyers. So I was like, yeah, there's loads of stuff going on there, you know what I'm saying? And then when my rock stuff comic strip got into the Carnival issue, and they done the Time Out team up. So I remember doing this comic strip that went over 2 years. Like, it started in 1 year, and it was just an A4 comic strip about a copper that went to Carnival and got totally urbanized. And then he just went rogue and disappeared in Notting Hill. And then I finished the strip the next year. So it was like 95, 96. And people were going, I saw your comic strip literally on the floor at Carnival. And it was something about a copper eating patties. And I just said, this is what I'm talking about. It's like, just do your thing and let it fly. You know, so many people say they're an artist, but no one's ever seen their work. And I just think, you know what? This is that thing about fight. If you can't do it yourself, if you don't have a magazine, I know internet now has changed everything, but it's like, if you just find someone to collab with to create the visuals. I'm saying, just be the face of that group, of that movement, that just do stuff that it's going to get distributed. Just same like Subway Art. It's like, just make the product and let it go. Don't, oh, this is too precious. No. Let the thing fly. So that's, for me, it's mad that this 30-year cycle of record covers I did in 1990, I'm getting props for now by total strangers like, from around the world, because my stuff's on, like, up on YouTube and all that, and Insta. And there's people going, I've got your record in my collection, right? And I'm just like, it humbles me, man, honestly.
I mean, ArtJaz, man, you're such an incredible artist. I mean,
it's that weird thing of, I just had to, like, the fact that I've been making life up for 30 years of just drawing and painting and drawing and painting and design and drawing, painting. And it's like, you know, like, you can't do all of that stuff and it not go nowhere. You know what I mean? Like, because of how many amazing people are out there. Like, do you know people I follow on Insta? It's crazy. You're talking about thousands of artists who they inspire me. And that's one thing, to be in a creative form when you don't stop evolving. That's why I get a bit kind of like, I get kind of like when people are acting like they're the top of the tree and they can't get no better. And I'm like, that's not the way to be, man. I'm always learning. I'm learning from people who are like younger than me, older than me, people who are doing a totally different art form, but just the way they use that paint or the way that their composition in art. And I'm thinking, I never thought of that. Dude, I love your work. And actually putting positive comments on people's work and just understanding you can't stop evolving.
We're always learning. We're always learning.
And just some people won't admit that. Some people are like, what am I going to learn from you? You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, nah, man, just keep being open. Don't burn no bridges. Don't just do your thing.
Yeah. 100%.
That's why I love doing this stuff, like working with kids and that, like with art classes. It's like, because there's nothing like passing on the enthusiasm of creativity. We're not literally working with like young hoodlum kids and they're like, dude, thank you so much.
It's so positive. It's so positive.
Do you know what I mean? I was just thinking, and a lot of people are like, I'm not sharing this graph thing. And I'm just thinking, but you got it from somewhere. If you didn't see it in somewhere, you wouldn't have never known about this stuff. And my thing is, I love the thought, like, you know, having kids who are like, you know, when I was 15 and I was so like pumped and that, is seeing kids that just want to learn. They just want to learn. And I just think, you know, there's so many people that don't work with kids. They're like, I'm not in that. I'm not in that at all. But I just think, you know what I mean? I've got kids. It's like, there's an honesty in working with young people, because if they don't like you, they'll just tell you, bro, you're chatting rubbish. You know what I mean? So to be able to enthuse those people and for them people to go, you know what, thank you.
It's so, listen, ArtJaz, it's so inspiring. It's so inspiring and so positive. You know what you're doing. You're giving back to the community, and you know we need a lot more people in society like yourself giving back. And there's a lot of people out there doing a lot of good things as well. And we got to big them up. We've got to big them all up because they're doing 100%. Amazing things.
100%, man. And I just think there is it's just that there are so many. The truth of the matter is that so many special kids are they're just lost. They don't, you know, a lot of people, like even from, you know, not specifically road, but there are a lot of kids who are just like, the streets is waiting for them. You know what I'm saying? To bring them down. To bring them down.
Yeah.
As they say, the devil and the idle hands and all that kind of thing. And you thinking, to have a kid that might feel the peer pressure of wanting to be on the road doing road things, and then to just be like, for someone to go, do you know what? I've seen you draw, or I've seen you do poetry or creative writing. I've seen you. Why don't you try this? And it's that trying to pull like the magnet away from the darkness and go, there's some stuff that will just feel, you know, it would feed you. Like my art feeds me. And I just remember, had I not been an artist, I don't know. I don't know, because as I said, I wasn't necessarily a bad youth. I just know that I knew enough people that were. So it's like, I would have just been hanging out, ready for people to go, yeah, man, own this for me. To be able to say, I'm just doing my art. You know what I mean? When I came from school, loads of my mates that I went to school with, they've done their madness and they see me now and they're like, dude, you still doing your art? And I'm like, dude, I don't do nothing else. And they're like, I just needed to hear that someone just stuck to something that was positive and kept on going with it. And the fact that it's like, I don't need people to know anything else about me apart from that I'm approachable and I do art. I don't need to have anything else because I'm content. I'm there. I'm in a place where anything I can give to other people, the gift of creativity is like, you can just keep on giving it. So to be around other art boards, whether they're 60, 70 years old, or 10, 7, like literally just because you know how therapeutic this stuff is, man. I'm just like, just share it out. Share it out. Enable some people.
It's like music. It's like music. I mean, you get lost. You get lost in music. It's the same with art. You get lost. You get lost in the art form. You know, when you're doodling, when you're doing the sketch or whatever, you get so you get so you get so into it. You get kind of, it becomes overwhelming. You're like wow,
adrenaline's taken over. Fatigue is gone. Appetite is gone. And I know this because I think literally doing like kind of street art and stuff and graph stuff for the past 10 years. I know I spend 12 hours on my feet, totally pumped, painting a wall for whether it's for a youth club or it's in it's in someone's house or something like that. I know me doing that, I'm zoned out. I'm zoned out. You know, every now you stand back and you go, oh, and I'm going to change this a little bit, but I'm just there, or someone comes in and goes, oh, this is amazing. So no, I haven't finished yet. I'm in it. I'm in the flow. You're still drawing. And I might have some music in the background because they're just letting me paint. So I'm just, same like people say, as long as you got music in your ears, you can do anything. Even if it's a job that you don't really love, just you're zoned out. You
got music in your ears, pen in your hand. I mean, what better? And the thing is, this is really important, ArtJaz, because if you think about it, the kind of age that we need to start, you know, getting our kids on a kind of positive focused track in their life is kind of like in the end years of their primary school. So around the kind of 10, 11 years of age. And that's the time when, you know, creatives like yourself are doing such a positive thing, because we should work on a campaign instead of like picking up a knife. We should be picking up a pen and getting creative and putting back positivity back onto the streets, back into society. Because
I just think there's and the maddest thing when you say that is so many of the school art curriculums have been erased. And I just think
shocking, absolutely shocking.
Like art and music. How are you going to take art and music away from kids? Like,
shocking.
This is the thing that makes people human. You know what I'm saying? Having kids writing, creative writing, and doing instruments, and why are you shutting down youth clubs for? You know what I'm saying? How are you shutting down art classes for? That to me, it's just chaos. That's why I just think finding the little pockets of people who are right, I'm going to do this art project on this estate. And this is why I always get calls for those kind of things, because it's like they just want someone that can just paint and get these kids to just sit. You know, don't you know, you're not painting, you're not talking at them. You're saying, no, come and engage with me. Let's do this together. So I just think you're right. It's that age just coming into secondary, because as soon as I went from primary, I felt like a good kid, but then as soon as you go secondary, you're like, no, I've got to be this. I've got to be like, you know, I've got to be tough. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like
100%.
That alone is like an interruption of, if you're going to be an artist, if you're going to be a musician, you just get interrupted right there at 11 to be something that you don't need to be. If you go into certain schools in certain areas, and you just think, then you get 5 years of just, you know what I mean, being on point, like always on edge. And I'm thinking, this is why I'm so glad I went art college, man, because it just diffused all of that. Just calm yourself down, calm down, get the pen back in your hand. You know what I'm saying? No one's here running up on you. Just
listen, ArtJaz, listen. If it wasn't for like art and things like music, this could be a totally different conversation now. Listen, man, you could be like, you could be on like a totally different bad path in life. Do you know what I mean?
No, we'll never have known. And that's the great thing about it, is that if you followed your heart or your gut at any good point, and it was the correct path, you would never know the opposite. You would never know the alternative. You can only just think, if something in your heart is telling you, I got to do this, and you do it, you just got to stick. You just got to own that path. You know what I mean? That's why I just feel so glad now that even in all the hard times, Even in all the times when there was no dough on the table, a man was living in quick save, eating beans and bread. I was still painting. You know what I mean?
And you were still doing something really positive, and mentally it was putting you in a good state of mind.
I just think, they say, no, like the no pain, no gain thing. Like you have to have some pain to push you, like to be able to expand and that. So I just think, just going through those times when all I had really, because I'm living away from home, I'm you know what I mean, a single man living in the little dives, living in some mad basement where all the ceilings falling down. But everywhere I went, there was a drawing table, even if that drawing table was an ironing board. That
didn't matter. It didn't matter. Yeah,
it didn't matter. I'm that's my drawing corner under that window where that little crack of sunlight with it. That's my drawing space, and that will, you know what I mean. That's
and it put you in a positive and a very kind of calming and peaceful place.
It was the only, when you just think that there's hope, you know what I mean. There is a reason I'm doing this, and people just they always think work to get paid, but you don't ever think about work for self, you know what I mean, self healing, and just, you know what I mean. Like the work shouldn't just be about paying the bills. It's like to be able to work and it makes you happy. Who would have thought? Who would have thought work was going to be happy for me? You know what I mean? I just think, every time you think to yourself, I've done the right thing. Do you know what I mean? Just by following my heart, keeping on just following. Something's telling me this art thing, I've got to hold it down. I have to, just for my own mental health.
You have to. Listen, like the schools should be working with creative artists like yourself, sending you into the schools at the kind of the late primary years, at like the 10 or 11 years of age, and working with these school kids and putting positivity and getting them back onto track. Because as you said, it's very therapeutic, it's very relaxing, it's very calm. It's like, you get lost in this art form, and it takes away all those worries, all those anger issues. It takes it all away, and you kind of get lost in the art form, and it puts you in a good place. It puts you in a positive place where you're going to do positive things, no negativity, shut all that away and concentrate. Drop the knives, pick up the pens.
I like it. That's a strap right there. Honestly, I've seen this stuff. I've been in schools when I'm working with kids, and there's literally just stuff that's set in my mind. You know that thing when I don't know this kid from Adam, right? But as I'm doing the little graph thing with this kid, they must have been about 11, 12. The door opens and a kid is just ushered in quietly, not to disrupt what I was doing. Now, this kid comes in, he's quiet, he just starts getting involved, and he's asking questions, and he's loving his work, and you could see he was in it. Now, I didn't know nothing. I didn't know he was the bad kid. I didn't know any of that. So anyway, the dude's come over and he's like, and he's just about to go lunch. He's come over and he's like, yeah, Julian, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It was amazing. And I was like, yeah, no worries, dude. I'll see you after lunch. The door comes open and one of his other teachers comes in and shouts out his name, Richard. Richard, what are you doing over there? It looks like a pile of rubbish, as I can imagine. And I looked at him, and then I looked at the kid. And the kid just went from this, his face fell off. Because immediately he was reminded of how his teachers see him. They were like, you're a piece of crap. Your work has to be rubbish, because in every other lesson, you're just a disruptor or whatever. To have his world, literally that moment, he was up. But then to an adult, and that's why I was so vexed, because this adult came in and reminded him that he was worth nothing. And he immediately took his canvas, smashed it on, like literally just cracked it on the table and went, yeah, thanks, sir, and just threw the canvas in the bin. And I was just going, you see how people don't think? That kid was, no matter what he was up to, he was in an art zone, right? And me and him was just chilling on a vibe. And it's just like, because I was chatting to the kids like, just civilized, you know what I mean? And his teacher just come and just, you know what I mean, just broke the spell. And I just think that's what's wrong. A lot of people don't value, a lot of teachers don't value what the art does to the kids. They don't value what the music does to the kids. They just get, like, if you're not smashing it in maths and you're not smashing it in English and smashing it in science, it's like, well, dude, not all of us are academic. You know what I mean? I'm not worse at academic, but even my teacher said to me, do you know what? Don't worry too much about the whole A levels and all that, because art is your thing and that's your ticket out of here. So just go art college and just be done with it.
But Julian, listen, what we got to appreciate, obviously, you know, there's a lot of teachers doing a lot of good things out there as well.
Oh,
and what we got to say is that we do need things like English, we do need maths in the classroom, but this is where the but is. We also need something where, say that pupil isn't really into maths, but he's going to try and do his utmost to do really well.
Right.
Where the art form comes in, with the art, he can like get lost in his art form as well and just relax and chill. You know, it's like it's a fine balance between all these different things.
Yeah, it's the left side and the right sided brain thing, which people don't. You know what I mean? As I said, people that are so cerebral and calculating, and then you've got someone that is just the total opposite, and they physically can't be that academic person. But they still need to be nurtured.
But they know that they have to do their maths, otherwise they're going to get a bad report. What can you do? It's a tricky one, isn't it? But as we say, it's a fine balance, and it's kind of getting that balance right. And if you can come in with the kind of the art form to kind of chill these kids out and get them into this kind of positive zone through the art and through the music,
yeah, man.
Then what better way is there to put these kids back onto a positive path in life?
I just think they just need, like, everybody needs a break from the hard thinking.
Yeah, 100%.
You need to go daydream.
Yeah.
It's just like 5 days and then weekend. You need that weekend to calm you down.
Yeah.
And just like in your daily school life, you need to have that bit that takes you back to just, do you know what I'm saying? Because you can't just be all blah, 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 blah. Because we all know what it's like when you're under pressure and you're having to calculate. Whereas someone just says, look, just put that brush on the paper, let it do its thing. Or put that can on. So I can't do art. No. Just put the nozzle on and just press it down and just see what the paint does. I'm not even pressuring you. You don't even have to forget trying to fit into the outline. Just make the mark. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's what I always encourage, is that, especially when people think it's got to be something. No, it don't. It starts with making a mark. And that's what I was taught by certain hippie teachers when I was at art college, who were like, forget the fear, forget what you don't think you are, or forget you're not perfect. No, allow all of that. We don't even care about your final piece of art. We want to see your process. We want to see the workings. We want to see that you've thought about it. So taking that to now, when you see a piece of art and it doesn't look like, I can't judge where someone's head was at when they was doing something. But when I see art and it just feels vacant, it don't feel like there's nothing in there. Someone just copied the next man or next guy and just went, boom, I did it like Banksy. Or I just copied D-Face. And it's like, no, that's not enough. You need to be able to defend your art. You know what I'm saying? What's the story? There has to be a story. And even I love the fact that a lot of when I was doing my record covers and my flyers, I put little Easter eggs in there. I put little things in there that people that know me would go, of course, there's a little character drinking a cup of coffee. Of course there is. Of course there's a little Bode character hidden behind that DJ. All those sorts of things where it's that if people know you just want to drop a little thing for the people that, people that appreciate what you're doing. Just make it for them. Right, like maybe the name of one of my kids on a t-shirt on a b-boy character. So for me, I just thinking you got to just let your people know that you're thinking about them.
ArtJaz. It only takes that one little thing, and that one little thing you could remember forever. That one little good thing of doing something really nice, you could remember that for the rest of your life. That just one thing.
And people will. That's what I'm saying. To give someone props. It's just like when I see, doing a piece and you putting up your peeps' names on there. Those kind of things are so
nice little touches.
important.
Yeah.
Just to make them go, yeah.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, going quickly back to, these Hall of Fames in London, they're so important. So it's like Stockwell Hall of Fame, for instance, these spots on Leek Street and Trellick Tower, all these spots are so important for the creatives, because if we didn't have these spots to go and put our creative skills on these walls, we won't have anywhere else to go and paint. And it gets you back out there, gets you out in the open, out in the fresh air, and it gets you putting back into like positivity back into society.
These places they're so essential, because just that, you know what, each time you go to League Street or whatever, nothing ever looks the same, apart from the stuff I put on the roof. But it's like just having that
changing canvas. Like
the fact that same spot down the end where it curves around into the light. So many times I go and paint around there because it's almost like I want that natural light. I'll feel much better being out in the open. And it's like, each time you come around that corner, you just see that massive wall there, and there's always something crazy on that big wall. And it's like, I really, to not actually have somewhere where that changing canvas doesn't exist. Imagine that wasn't there. Do you know what I mean? But the fact that it is there and it's been used for decades, you know what I mean? Same like Trellick, same like with Stockwell. It's like, you look at people's photos and it's like years and years, and you recognize the spot. You look up and you go, right, it's underneath that balcony. I remember that spot. I painted there. And everybody can hold up their pictures going, I painted in that spot. And it was like doing the, when I done the Sun and Ice shoot recently, like that was just dope, because it was like, I hadn't been there for years and years and years. And it was the first time I actually put paint on the wall down there. And it was just seeing, like, you imagine all the residents that live around there. And you can, like anything, living in Trellick, where people just see all the time, they can just look out their window and see someone in their zone. Imagine what that must be like, to just go, here's another one, here's another one. Oh, they're not just vandalizing, they're not just like breaking bottles or whatever. These guys are kind to put up something nice. I'm going to wait till they're finished. Then I'm going to walk down and just introduce myself and just go, nice work.
But they shouldn't even have to wait till you finish. They should go down and talk to you as well and say, oh, what you up to?
Do you know what I mean? I just think it's so, and that's why I love places like that, because they are in urban environments. They're in environments where, like, it might be there's nothing else going on, but that paint, like every day, there's someone putting something brand new. And a lot of the time, it's going to be something colourful, something that's pleasing to the eye. And that for me is like, same when I was at Stockwell recently, was like having old ladies that look like my granny, or look like my aunt, just stop by and look me up and down and go, that's really nice. You know what I mean? And it was just a portrait of a couple of the dudes, but it was like the fact that they weren't, they wanted to show their appreciation, they actually engaged. And it was like, sometimes when people think, no, like, you know, don't talk to old people or whatever, like what? Like, you know, when someone just stops by and just says, really like what you're doing, no matter what I dress like, covered in paint, hoodie up, just to have someone come and engage with you. Or you see a kid go past and they push it and they're pointing, and then the parent might go, oh yeah, he's painting this, or do you want to go and see? And it's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how old you are. It's just like,
do you know, it's really, ArtJaz, it's really nice to have this conversation, because I think the graffiti artist or the artist is kind of portrayed as a bit like a criminal, and it's somebody you can't approach. But, you know, watching this interview, you know, I mean, what a great guy. I mean, you could approach you all day long, and yeah.
I appreciate it.
And it's like, you know, not all graffiti artists are a bad man, and like, you know, causing damage. You know, we've all got hearts, and we're all human. And you know, if you see someone with a can of paint, go and talk to them.
Oh, just, yeah. Do you know what? And obviously, because you still get that large portion of society that will be like, you're scum.
Yeah,
Like, it don't matter what you're about to do. They won't even come over and see your sketch to see what you're about to put up. They'll just look at you, even if you said good morning. They're not even engaging. Do you know what I'm saying? And I know that I see it.
Because you've been portrayed as a criminal, as a vandal, not as a creative, artist.
So it's like, the fact that I ain't got a car, so I'm often coming home from painting jobs, stinking of paint. And it's like I'm there with the spray cans. You can still smell it, 94 or Beltons or whatever. And you got people just looking over their newspapers and just, you know what I mean? Like they don't matter if I got a grey beard. It don't matter that I'm like 50. It's like, do you know what? You're one of those people. You're scum. Do you know what I'm saying? Like when you see it, you're just thinking, seriously, you don't know what I've done today. I've actually been painting like in a kid's nursery. I've been painting animals and dinosaurs. But all you care about is because you was using spray paint, that makes you
a bad man.
Really, a degenerate. And I just think, come on, man, are you joking? Are you joking? Like seriously? But you can't change people's, as I said, if people don't have to evolve, they think they can say whatever they want or their actions aren't going to be picked up. I don't really care. Do you know what I mean? Because for 3/4 of society, people will appreciate it and at least go, like what you're doing, mate, and just walk on.
And that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely, that's what it's all about, man. It's just be open and be yourself, man.
So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. And listen, what I'm going to do as well, I mean, you've got some images that we can share around the socials. So what I'm going to do, you got some record sleeves, you got flyers, and some of your latest graffiti work as well, and some of the old stuff. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put right at the end of this interview, so don't go anywhere, the actual some photos of your work. Is that cool, Julian?
Yeah, man. No, definitely. Do you know what? I got so much stuff that I would love to show off. It's just like,
listen, send it all to me, right? Email me at allcitysteve@yahoo.co.uk. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put all your work, loads of your work at the end of this interview, so people can go and check out your art. Just
to see that I wasn't just all talk.
You weren't just a random. I picked up in the back of my cab one time.
Even down to the shirt I'm wearing now. This is one of my designs for my peeps at Aerosol. So, I always like to do a little thing here and there. You know what I'm saying? It's one of these things. So I've been watching your show for a little while now. And it's that thing about seeing so many rap legends and graph legends. And I'm saying, dude, I'm just sitting there just soaking it up. And it's like, because that same thing, people that I used to watch painting back in the day, seeing them talking to you and just being chill, I'm like, raw, the dude's actually cool, like proper cool, you know what I'm saying? Whereas before, you're just thinking everybody just had their spray can face, they had their graph face on, and just realizing these people are actually really decent, you know what I'm saying? So it's how it goes, man. I just wait. So as I said, I thank you.
Julian, it's been an absolute honor. And listen, anybody watching this, if you see Julian out with a spray can spraying up round Stockwell, go and say hello to him.
You know what? Even if you see me like at the shop, like with a donut, just say
hi. Just say hi. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And listen, where can people get in touch?
I mean, to be honest, I've got everything I put is on Instagram now. So literally, ArtJaz. ArtJaz 05, ArtJaz 05 is where you're going to see most of my stuff. Drop me a DM, whatever. I mean, I'm on Twitter and all that kind of stuff, but everything is on Insta these days. So yeah, man, I'm around.
You can check you out there. And listen, anybody watching this, please share this interviews around the social. Please subscribe to my channel. I've interviewed Scheme, T-Kid, Scarf, Score, Scam, Public Enemy, Poppin' Pete, Sid G from Ultramagnetics. I mean, too many to name. Right? So pure legends. And not everybody's, obviously, they're not all legends. It's all about capturing other people as well, because everybody's got a story. So Julian, absolute honor chatting to you, my man.
No, you too, man. Really appreciate it.
This is the transit system. They don't like it to be defaced, and they will at times try and go to the extreme and right, please?